So the ATA report is like the threat assessment report for the United States. Trump's administration, in his last administration, admitted that climate was a threat. As the planet heats up, people will move up to colder regions. Ultimately, like Alaska, Antarctica are like the last places we will be able to tolerate the temperatures before we just bake inside our own skin. The human body can only withstand so much external heat. But also, as weather gets more unstable, we will have, like the worst of weather, more tornadoes, more hurricanes. That sounded like tomato, didn't it? Anyway, more hurricanes. There will be hail, there will be snow. It is weather extremes. But also, with the ice caps melting, water will rise. We will lose land to encroaching sea levels. On the low level of climate change, as places like Arizona being warmer, people are not going to want to stay in Arizona as much. You're trying to escape the snow, not find a new way to enjoy heat exhaustion. The Trump administration left climate change off the list. And it's not just that it affects, like where people vacation, it affects crops. Not all crops can grow in 100-degree heat. I mean, I desperately want to take a desert foraging class, but part of me is like, this will be a skill in a few years instead of just something interesting to do. The Trump administration actually removed a climate change tracking website yesterday because that's what the administration's doing. If you just don't admit to climate change, then it's not really there. It's just God's will that Arizona is hotter because obviously you didn't all vote for Trump. Whatever. Other countries are doing as much as they can to prepare for this. There's no way to get around it. There's no way to like stop it. We could slow it down, we could manage it, we could lessen it over time, but it would have to kind of be like in COVID when we all didn't drive our cars for a few weeks. People aren't willing to do that yet. They don't see the damage, and by the time they realize it, it's going to be too late. To not acknowledge it as a country is going to be very interesting because, like, oh, well, Florida's underwater and Arizona is 120 degrees in the shade. But it's not climate change. We're not sure what it is, but it's not climate change. But part of that threat assessment is the US is very busy kicking everybody out of their borders. But the other part of that threat assessment is as it gets hotter, people will just start coming up in even larger numbers. Canada knows this. Canada knows damn well the time will come where people will just cross the Canadian border because Canada's going to be 100 degrees. And yet, for at least the next 4 years, the US is just going to pretend like that's not a thing. As we enjoy more droughts, more, crop failures, more unusual storms that we just won't deal with because, we no longer have NOAA and... oh my god.